So I'm about to go for a quick walk. It is pretty early in the morning. Well, I wouldn't say like really early, but it's like 10:40 a.m. I haven't woke up. I haven't actually got off my bed at this time. For I don't know, a couple of weeks now. Actually, maybe even a month or two. Since it's nice and sunny, and it just feels like it's gonna get pretty hot today. Maybe up into the 70s, and tomorrow's just gonna be even. Tomorrow's gonna be like in the 80s. So I decided, you know what? Last summer, last year, like 2017, I was waking up early, like just sitting in the backyard with the sun. It actually helped me with the depression side of anxiety. So before I go for a walk, it's an update of my depression. I don't really feel depressed as much as I used to. I still feel a little bit depression from time to time. Especially if I'm waking up late, I do feel a little depression. Nothing like it used to be, but I can still get off my bed. What I mean by waking up and not wanting to get up is because I sleep so late. Sometimes I don't fall asleep till like 5 a.m. because I take a late nap. Like whenever I take a nap around, let's say 3 p.m., 4 p.m., or even 5 p.m., and then I wake up an hour, sometimes even 2 hours later. When you take naps, you don't really want to take it too long, maybe 15, 30 minutes the max. If I take it for anything longer than that, I'll wake up with a headache. I'll wake up knowing that I won't be able to go back to sleep later on in the evening because I fell asleep when I didn't want to sleep. Sometimes I can sit down and just fall asleep. I have actually fell asleep sitting down at someone's house before, like a family friend's house. I just sat down and I fell asleep because I got off work like an hour or two before I had to go to their house. So I didn't think I was gonna fall asleep sitting down because I had never fell asleep sitting down. So if I feel tired, I can fall asleep sitting down. I can fall asleep sitting down on the floor, and not even knowing it. But when I want to fall asleep, I can't. Even though there are times that I don't take a nap in the afternoon, if I take one, like if I woke up, let's say 7 a.m., I was doing stuff around the house. I go back and I decide, hey, it's 7 a.m. I'm going to go back to sleep. If I go back to sleep around, let's say 9 a.m. and I woke up half an hour later, I'm still going to have a hard time falling asleep during the evening because I feel like sometimes an hour nap feels like an 8 hour nap to me. Sometimes if I fall asleep for 5 minutes, I feel fully rested, but if I sleep over an hour, I feel like I slept for 8 hours, and it's like the longer you sleep, you don't want to get off the bed, but when you sleep for like 10, 15, like a power nap, you can actually get off your bed. Well, for me, I could, but I feel like if I wake up so late on the day, I feel like I wasted the entire day, or at least the entire morning, because if I woke up at noon or close to noon, then that's why I feel like the whole day was gone, even though it was just the morning. Especially during the winter, when it gets dark around 5 o'clock. If I woke up at noon, I will only have about 4 or 5 hours of daylight, and then that will make me feel depressed. It's not because the season, it's just because I woke up late, and it makes me feel a little depressed because I didn't get to do anything in the morning. Like, especially when I keep saying I want to actually go for a walk in the morning. I want to like sit in my yard, front yard or backyard, in the morning, things like that. So, that's why last summer I was able to get off the depression by getting up earlier, sleeping earlier. I actually did sleep earlier during last summer. Even when I took naps, I make sure I took my naps at the same time every day. That meaning like I would take a nap. Last summer I didn't pick up my daughter because I was only going for walks. I wasn't able to really drive yet. I was able to walk, but I wasn't able to drive yet. So I didn't pick up my daughter. She would get dropped off by a friend. My dad would pick up. If her mom wasn't at work, then she would go pick up. That actually made me depressed because I couldn't even pick up my own daughter when I'm not doing anything. So that added up to depression. But however, it pushed me to go for walks. It pushed me to go to walk near her school so I can be outside my house. Her school is not that far from here, but we've been having some attempted kidnappings, even from high school students. So even though the school isn't that far from here, my daughter did tell me sometime last year that some stranger actually asked her if she needed a ride, and she knew what to say. So that actually made me want to get better. So I can pick up, so she didn't have to walk. Even though it's not even a far walk, but I don't want to be like, oh, it's because of me she got kidnapped. I should have been able to pick up. Yeah, I know other students walk home, but when it's close to you, you feel it. Even though it's happened to someone else you don't know, then it makes you feel bad for that family, and then it gets to you because you're gonna start thinking, what if that was the next person is my own daughter, my own son, my own niece, my own nephew, things like that. So that's the reason why I started waking up even earlier. Last summer, when I say early, I mean like I'll wake up at 8 o'clock. Just to be awake, just to get that, so I don't go back to sleep. If I sleep for 8 hours and I went back to sleep, because the depression is gonna be like, what's the point of you getting off your bed? You're not gonna do anything. So that's like a negative mind thinking. That's a depression. That's what happens when you feel depressed. Now, there are times that I'll stay in bed till like 12 o'clock is because I slept late, but it's not because I'm depressed. Well, if I'm depressed now, I wouldn't, if the time was 12 o'clock, I would just woke up, brush my teeth, and ate my lunch and go back to sleep. That's why I would have done it if I was still depressed. But there are times that I do feel a little depressed in there, but it's the depression side of me now is just thinking back, like, why did I let this get to me? Why did I left work that day? I got dizzy. Why didn't I just like sat down, wait till the anxiety lower itself and continue working? It's because I was scared. But if I can have panic attacks at home and little by little not get scared, I should be able to have a panic attack at work and not be scared of it, because where I work, a lot of us are so close to each other. Like I mentioned, I work by myself at night, but there are people on the other half of the building, and there are people that are in a little office, so I know them. So if something happened to me, I needed help, they would come and help me. But I let the fear get to me, and that's what makes me depressed, by thinking back. From time to time I still think back, but now I'm like, what? A lot of people that have panic attacks wherever they are, if they're at the mall, what's the first thing they're gonna do? They're gonna want to leave. If you have one at home, what's the first thing you're gonna do? If there was someone home with you, you you're gonna want to tell that person, ask that person, hey, can you help me out? I think I'm having a panic attack. If that's the first panic attack, you're gonna want to call 911. For me, when I had my panic attacks, I actually never called 911. The only time I went to the doctor because work where I work, they wanted me to go see a doctor, just to make sure I was okay, and that's when I wanted to see the doctor. And when I went to the doctor, I actually started feeling depressed because I would never thought I would have to go to see the doctor for for anything like this. I mean, sure, everyone goes to the doctor to get checkup, but for me to go to the doctor and because of chest pains, dizziness and stuff, that just made me have more depression because I was scared. It was like adding more fear to having fear. And to be honest, I started getting scared going to the doctor because if they say, oh, we have bad news for you, what if I go to see another doctor? We have more bad news. But that's the negative thinking. That's the depression state of mind I had. But I started having fear of seeing the doctor because of that. And before, I was never scared of going to the doctor. It's just every little things for myself would start making me feel depressed. Anything that I was scared of, I wasn't scared before, was making me scared. So as far as the depression now, whenever I'm going for walks, and then if I have a thought that pops in my head, it's like, why couldn't you go for another block? I'm going to just go for another block. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to go. That way my mind knows that I'm ignoring it, and I'm going to do it. I'm not saying you have to go outside and go for like a mile walk. If you can't go outside to get the milk, slowly practice opening the doors. If you can't open the door before, practice opening the door. If you can't if you can't take a couple of steps outside your front door, practice taking a few steps. Don't expect to open the door and go right out and get the mail and not feel panic. Because when I couldn't get the mail at first, I felt panicky just trying to open the door. Every time I even got a couple of feet away from the front door, I would start shaking and go back in my room. But one day, I got so distracted by what I was looking at my phone. I kept walking. I heard my dog barking because the mailman came by, and I just went out, opened the door, grabbed the mail, and when I went back in, handed the mail to whoever the mail belonged to, everyone was just looking at me like, but they didn't say anything because they knew that I was having a hard time. But yeah, so that's how I kind of got over my depression, by doing things that I thought I was never going to be able to do. Like whatever your thought telling you can't do, you do it. But yeah, take a little baby steps. Because if you say I can only drive for like half a mile, and once I get to the street, I'm gonna panic. If you try to go any farther, you panic, then you're gonna want back home. But for me, when I couldn't even make it across the street, when I started walking to the corner and back, I would feel panicky just looking across the street. So one day I said, I'm just gonna walk across. I'm not gonna even stop. I'm just gonna stop to see if there's any cars coming by. Then I'm just gonna cross it. And I crossed it. I came back, and sometimes I'm talking to like my surrounding neighbors. It kind of helps me because sometimes I walk and they wave hi and stuff to me, and I'll go up to them and start talking to them. So it encouraged me to cross the street to talk to my neighbors that just live across the street. It encouraged me to cross a different street. It's just you have to encourage yourself, because your negative mind is there because of the way you think and how you react to things. Sometimes you can feel depression because you're surrounded by other people talking about things. You can pick up other people's other stress. You can pick up other people's depression because they're talking negatively about themselves. Even though you don't know them, even though they're not talking about you, you can pick it up from them. You know, if let's say you go to the store, you feel overwhelmed because of the noise. There's like a lot of people, you feel that sensory overload is because your mind can't handle it. You know, your mind is like, it's telling you, you shouldn't be here. There's too much negativity. There's too much people. You can't handle it. Your mind is telling you that because you're telling yourself that you can't handle it. But in fact, you can handle it. It's just that you're programming your mind so much negativity. That's all your mind knows. So whenever someone keep telling me think positive, I would say BS. You can't tell a depressed a person that's stuck in depression to think positive, because it's hard there. You know, like for myself, I would say, you try to be in my shoes, you try to be in my mind, you know, you're gonna have depression, you're gonna have these thoughts, you're not gonna be able to think positive. But after a couple of months, I realized they were just trying to help me. They don't know how I feel inside, but they want me to change the way I think, like how I used to think. Because before, I would have little to no negative thoughts at all. If someone asked me, why am I working at this job for this amount of pay? Why don't I work somewhere else for more money? I would say, you know, to me, I would say, you know, I'm making enough money to support myself, support my family, and still have money, because I don't buy things unless I need. I don't buy things because I want. I buy things because I need. And I say, if I was gonna make $100,000 or more, I will stop buying things that I don't need, but I want because other people want. And you know, it's things like that I would overturn someone trying to be negative towards me. You know, my mind would be like, find something positive, even when you're having negative thoughts. You know, like for me, when I couldn't go out and get the mail one day, I did, and then that was a positive. When I said I can't drive again, I finally drove again. So every little thing that I told myself I couldn't do, I did. That negative thought slowly went away, because before I would wake up instantly, negative thought, because I would say, oh, I woke up, what am I going to do? I'm just going to be sitting down at home doing nothing besides being on my phone, or, you know, or my iPad, whatever. I'm not going to go for a walk. I'm not going to be able to go sit in my backyard, play with the dog. I can't even go to the kitchen. I can't go to the living room. I can't do this. I can't do that. Every time I say I can't, my subconscious mind remembers that. So every time I go near the kitchen, instantly my mind is like, hey, you say you can't go here. Why are you going here? And then instantly throws me into a panic attack. It throws me into depression. So I go back in my room. It's because I'm telling myself I can't. When I start saying I can, the depression state of mind slowly went away. You know, sitting even in my backyard, my front yard, with the sun shining in my face, it really helped me. You know, before I thought I was never going to be able to enjoy the sun, so I wouldn't even look out my bedroom window. I wouldn't even look outside the window in the living room. I wouldn't even allow the sun to like shine in my room. I would make it as dark as possible, because I said, you know what? If I can't go outside to enjoy the sunshine, what's the point of me even seeing the outside world? Well, one day I woke up because I had a dream that I went to the beach. I was walking around my neighborhood enjoying the sun. So I woke up, even though I knew it was a dream, but that dream felt real at the same time, and something snapped in my mind, and then I started having memories of me going to the beach. For every year I would go to the beach, spend a couple hours at the beach. You know, during spring or summer. Sometimes I'll go more than once, because it's like an hour drive away. You know, and back then I used to work graveyard, so on my days off, I would want to sleep in during the day, so my sleep schedule was really off. But I was still able to do it. So that dream itself reminded me that, you know, I was, no matter what weather we had, I was able to enjoy it. If it's raining, I would still go for a drive. I would go to the mall just to be outdoors. Sometimes I'll go for a walk in the wind, and you know, I would just enjoy whatever weather we had. When it was snowing, I would go to the mountains about 3.5 4 hours away just to enjoy the snow. So whatever weather we were having, I would adjust myself to it. I wouldn't feel any depression. You know, I didn't have seasonal depression. Like, you know, some people will feel depressed when it's raining and it's cloudy. Some people will feel depression when it's sunny because they can't enjoy the sun like other people. Some people will feel depressed because of when it rains. They feel like they can't do anything when it's raining. They can't go for walks. They can't do this when it's raining.